topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Draw me close to you, never let me go. I lay it all down again to hear you say that I'm a friend.
Good day. The Almighty Creator desires a deep personal relationship with you. My name is James Robertson. I'm a researcher, publisher, and teacher regarding the matters and truths of the Almighty Creator, whose true name is Yah, the eternally self-existing. I've been actively serving him since 1993, over 32 years. If you are not actively serving Yah, then by default you're serving Satan. My objective is to show you how you can make a big difference on earth and qualify for a position of high esteem in heaven for eternity. It's important to understand that as a believer, just being good is not the point. It's relationship with Yah that counts. Without this, you will be in a very unpleasant place in heaven with no way out. My aim is to show you how to get close to Father. If you're a good person without a clear relationship with Yah, then you're in a spiritual no man's land and you will not enter heaven when you die. The Creator has said regarding unbelievers, why would I want someone to spend eternity with me when they do not believe I exist? Yah is calling everybody on the planet to be involved and to serve him and help him to have victory over Satan. Fundamentally, we each need to learn to see things on earth from Yah's perspective. Please visit my website at www.endtimeissueministries.org or email me on james@endtimeissueministries.org. The topic today, 2 subjects, seek truth, not error, and then about your heavenly bank account. So, the overview. There's a great tendency amongst people to look for errors in others and then to use this as a basis to dissociate. This is the reason for so many religions and so many denominations within each religion. People find something they regard as absolute truth and then shun those who do not agree with them and conversely cast these people out of their assemblies. I also find that very few people are aware of the fact that depending on how you live your life as a believer, you will get different rewards in heaven. So I'm going to talk about your heavenly bank account as well. So the first part of this broadcast is based on the article 2024-1102, Seek Truth, Not Error, Summary. Many years ago, Father taught me a vital principle, seek truth, not error. When you first meet someone, look for the truth that they have and or that you lack. Take that truth on board and do not be offended by what you perceive to be error. On this basis, it is possible to engage with anyone on the planet constructively. This has been a fundamental principle of my ministry since around 2001 and has opened the door for many useful engagements. I wrote about this in depth in May 2013 in the article Seek Truth, Not Error, which is also on the website. So, folks, I'm going to go into this in quite a lot of detail. But the longer I walk this road, the more I see how important this principle is. We look at what's happening in Iran, Israel, what's happening in Afghanistan, what's happening in Ukraine and elsewhere. There's so much animosity, there's so much oppression, there's so much really unpleasant stuff happening. And a lot of it has to do with this situation that people think that the other group is really bad, and it's a very difficult one. So I really ask you to pay attention to what I'm going to share in the next few minutes. So in summary, humankind has spent 6,000 plus years learning all there is to learn about evil and error. Adam and Chava, Eve, ate the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. So we now know all evil. We've been learning about all evil and digging into all evil for over 6,000 years. So why seek error? It's everywhere. My point is that it doesn't matter who you talk to, who you exchange emails with, who you comment with, or whatever on social media. That person has error. It's a given. It is highly unlikely in this age that there is a single person on the planet who's free of error and free of sin. I like to believe I'm free of all the major sins, and I do utter an expletive now and again, which is probably not right. And I'm sure I've still got errors, even though I've been fasting and praying and seeking truth for all these years. And what I'm saying to you, it doesn't matter who you meet and how you meet them. They have got error, and they probably have sin. So if you think you have truth that they lack, well then share the truth that you think that they lack. And if they don't receive your gem of wisdom, don't get all bent out of shape and upset with them. Just move on by. Or you can continue talking to them and just not talk about the things that you don't agree with. You can agree to disagree. And please don't quote Bible verses at me to say that I'm wrong. This is stuff that Yah has taught me directly. It's important also to understand that there's only ever been one human being with no error. Adam and Chava were created with no error, no sin, absolutely pure. But in next to no time, they disobeyed Yah, they rebelled against Yah, they listened to Satan, they ate the forbidden fruit, and wham! Humankind was in sin and error. And we have stayed in sin and error ever since. Up and down and up and down. So you get Noah and the whole planet is destroyed. But Noah takes error and sin with him. He gets drunk, curses his grandson. And so it goes. So my point, as before, is what are you getting upset about when you find you disagree with somebody? Find what you can agree with and leave the stuff you can't agree with. Share your truth, because remember, your truth might be error. Hear what they say, because maybe their error is truth. What you perceive to be their error is truth. What you perceive to be your truth is error. I've come down a very long road of coming to understand the level of error in different religions, particularly in Christianity, because that's where I come from. And it's absolutely shocking in Christianity the amount of fundamental core doctrine issues that are taught as being truth and which are lies. For example, the Trinity, Jesus is God, the Bible's the Word of God, three big ones, breaking the commandments. And then there's only one being with all error. Only Satan has all error. Everyone else has some error, but not all error. So if you're really looking for truth, you will find that every being on the planet has some truth. You might have to scratch a bit in some cases, but it's there. Satanists, witches, warlocks, forgotten the word now, translation, they do, anyway, they're able to travel, come out of their bodies and travel as spirits. That's a truth that they have, and that I certainly don't have. And astral projection, that's the word I'm looking for, the phrase. I don't know how to do that. I don't know anything about it. I don't really want to learn something about it. But it's possible. I mean, you get the situation where Philip was ministering to the Ethiopian eunuch. He immerses him, baptizes him, and instantly is translated to another location. Why can't you do that? Why can't I do that? It's truth that we lack. So the absolute core of my message today is seek the truth amongst the error. It is therefore becomes apparent that in searching for truth, one must constantly sift through error. I hope I'm making sense. Are you getting what I'm saying here? So really the heart of my message is focus on truth, don't focus on error. I see so many people who are obsessed with error. I see well-meaning believers writing screeds and screeds about this group are in error and that group that's in error and this group of gross sinners and this group is that. And I just pass over it, skim it, see what they're saying, and just put it on one side. And sometimes I try and engage with them and say, you know, friend, you are focusing on the wrong thing. The more you focus on Satan's lies, the closer you get to the lies and the closer you get to Satan, and you end up also in sin. There's a principle, judge not lest thou also art judged, and as thou art judged, so shalt thou be judged. Folks, that's critical stuff. As a general rule, I avoid second-hand judgments. So if somebody sends me a YouTube link for some well-intentioned soul who is ranting on or rambling on or whatever about whatever, I just glance at it, see what it's about, put it on one side, move on. If I find something that really is truth, I will engage with it deeply. Not a lot of that around. I like to believe most of what I write is in that category, but I don't know what I don't know. So it's also true that articles I've written today are more accurate and have more truth than articles I wrote 20 years ago on the same subject in most cases. So in all of this, focus on the truth. Do not focus on the error. Take it for granted that error is there, be it you, your pastor, your wife, your husband, or any other person you might be inclined to put on some sort of pedestal. This is the same principle. Do not look for errors in others. deal with your own error, and look for others for truth that will help you to find your error and deal with it. Am I making sense? Think about it. Think about the last couple of relationships or exchanges you've had with people where you found some error and said, no, I'm walking away from this. And then do not talk about error, share truth. The same way, do not talk about error, do not gossip and tell others about the errors you found in people. You cannot talk well of someone, rather say nothing. And this ties into what I said a minute ago. I find so many people who get obsessive about this or other group, and then you tackle them and they say, but people need to know about it. And my take on that is, no. Why do you need to know what Satan's doing on the earth? Satan is real. Satan is causing sin and error and deception and whatever. Don't glorify him by talking about it. Talk about Yah. There's lots to talk about Yah. There's lots to talk about his ways and his ways of doing things. Why do you have to talk about people who you perceive to be in error? Just let it go. And if it's just a video or something, just park it, delete it. Just move on. If it's a human being in the same room as you, look for what you can agree on. And don't get into an argy-bargy if you can't agree on something. Just say, okay, Joe doesn't agree with me on that. I'll park it and I'll move on and see what else I can say that we can agree on. Think about it. The world would be a much better place if everybody applied that principle. So I've taken it way back, since 2000, really. Well, before that, in a way, always, in fact. Because when I first believed, after Yah spoke to me audibly as clearly as you can hear me now, I bought a New King James Bible, and I held it up and I said, Father, these people say this is your word. It doesn't make any sense to me. Please answer all my questions. And he did. I filled 14 notebooks, 100-page notebooks with all my notes and my musings and the answers that I received. So I was seeking truth even then. And then in 2000, around about August, I went on 10 3-day water-only fasts at 10-day intervals. 9 or 10, I can't remember. And I started to get revelation left, right, and center. And then in 2001, the middle of the year, Father said to me, I'm calling you to be the point of the arrow, and the arrow is truth. So actively since 2001, I have been seeking to restore lost truths. And that's why you'll find that so much of what is on my website is different to not covered by mainstream religion. It's direct revelation, greater or lesser extent. Sometimes I'm more accurate, sometimes I'm less accurate, but most of the time what I write is more or less in line with what Father would have me write. So I've done a lot of searching. If you assume that my articles on the website are more or less true in most cases, then there's 2,500 articles in the article database roughly, and there's about 1,250 web pages. So there's a lot there which I believe to be truth. So in conclusion, I appeal to all of you who listen to this to focus on truth and not on error. It does not matter how offensive you find someone's error, they have truth hidden somewhere. If you're called to find truth, then seek it. If not, either move on or avoid getting sucked into error, and at the same time realize that you probably have less truth than you think, and look constantly for truth which others have which you lack. If you're in the habit of publishing stuff, and by publishing I mean writing videos, etc., about other people's sin and error, I really urge you to stop. And if you're in the habit of consuming that sort of stuff, be it YouTube videos, be it emails, be it websites, whatever, stop. It's no relevance. The world is full of sin and error, so why do you need to talk about it? And most of the time these people miss it because they focus on the people, not the spirits behind the people. Somebody wrote the other day on Facebook that the Druids control the world, and I said that's not true. The satanic, demonic demons, the 7 demonic masterminds who rule in Satan's stead, control the world. There's over 100 billion demons on the planet, and guess what? They're all trying to get people to sin. So what's the point of talking about sin and error? So I'm now going to talk about the article 2022-0901. What are you doing to earn a high throne for eternity? About your heavenly account. Few people are aware of the fact that they have an account in heaven where everything they do in this life that adds or destroys value for the kingdom of Yah is accounted for as debits and credits, such that at the end of one's life the debits and credits are added and we are rewarded or penalized depending on the net balance of the account. For a dramatic example of this, see the article Angelo, a hearing impaired beggar on a high throne in heaven for eternity, in the appendix. You're not going to see that, but it's on the website. Fundamentally, from the moment of conception, we are allocated a guardian messenger, an angel, whose job it is to protect us and also to maintain a written record of everything that we do, with particular emphasis on the things that we do which either add value or destroy value in the kingdom of Yah. A net positive account balance is called merit, and we are rewarded for any merit we have accrued by the end of our lives with a specific rank in heaven, as discussed elsewhere. See the article, Where Are You Going? And the article Creator Desires Friends for some information on that on the website. See also the article Demographics of the Kingdom. There are 2, and the different views of the mountain. I'm going to talk about that a little bit more in a moment. The thing I want you to understand, and folks, I need to be clear, I'm talking to believers. If you're an unbeliever, what I'm talking about is going to sound like gobbledygook, and it has absolutely no relevance to you whatsoever. Other than you might have said, hey, this is quite good stuff, maybe I should believe. And you're welcome. There's a prayer at the end of this to pray, or you can contact me, or you can go on the website, or whatever. So just get the picture. There's a messenger, an angel. Angel's a meaningless religious word. A messenger, a spirit being, who follows you around wherever you go, taking notes. Joe did this, and Joe said this. And Joe swore and said the following. And Joe cursed and said the following. And so on, and so on, and so on, and so on. It's quite a big book by the time it's finished. And when you die, that book is opened before the throne of Yah. And bear in mind that Yah's followed everything you've done anyway, but this is just for your sake, in case your memory's a bit slack when you come before the judgment seat. And you really need to read the book, The Final Quest by Rick Joyner. It's on the website as well under the ETI Bible version page. A series of visions where he was taken up into heaven, and he saw much of what I'm going to share with you in the next few minutes. Experienced it. So I write regularly. And speak regularly about seeking a high throne for eternity. It recently struck me that I'd not addressed the critical aspect of earning merit in the kingdom of Yah. I was corresponding with a man who'd been associated with me in the ministry for several years, and who periodically asks my counsel on various matters, and also keeps me informed about his career and family. Some weeks ago, I registered that while some years ago he had set up a website presenting some of my teachings in Spanish, he had not posted anything for quite a while. So I asked him, "What are you doing for Father? What are your plans to serve him?" And I'll share more of that in a minute. In my observation, in my experience, there are very few believers today who are living life with their eyes set on a high throne in heaven and doing what they find to do to qualify for that high throne. Most of them are just pottering along, praying a few prayers, half-heartedly witnessing to a few people, maybe reading the Bible, which really doesn't help you much. And they're going to get such a surprise when they come before the throne, and Father says to me, we'll go down there. I hardly knew you. Didn't have a relationship with me. You did nothing to serve me, nothing to help me. So coming back to my friend that I mentioned a minute ago, the following dialogue ensued. "Hi, James. We pray, we worship on Sabbaths, and we will teach our children to love Yahuwah. And in time, we'll invest much more of our time and resources in spreading his word and love for mankind." I replied, "That is not enough. You need to be actively ministering now, else you will be disappointed when you die. You need to at least post one article a week in Spanish on the website and an emailing list, something that endures and reaches others." He replied, "What do you mean, disappointed when I die?" In response, I sent him two voice messages. The transcription is as follows. "Hi, I'm a bit surprised by your question. I've written so much about seeking a high throne. You are not going to get a high throne by just worshipping and praying. That is housekeeping. That's looking after yourselves. If you want to qualify for a high throne, you have got to do something to earn that high throne. You have to reach people for Father. The way you started out doing it a couple of years ago was posting articles on the website. When you post an article on the website, it is out there for people to read and touch them, and everyone you touch, you score points for in your heavenly bank account. If you set up a basic MailChimp free email account and start emailing people, you touch people, it's credit in your bank account. You need to be doing it every week. So that's thought-provoking, I hope, for you. And I'm not going to comment until I get to the end of this. I'm just going to keep citing the quotation. Telling yourself that sometime when you get older, you will do more for your Father, you're kidding yourself. You may die before then and come before Father, and Father's going to say to you, well, what did you do for me? You really need to think about this. You are so wrapped up in the world and your family and making a living. You're not looking out for Father. You're not doing anything for Father. You at one stage witnessed to a few people, but you've not done even that recently. You're so caught up in the world. The best you can hope for is that if you get to heaven, Father is going to say, well, you're entitled to come here, but you've really done nothing to justify a significant place in heaven. And I don't want that for you or your wife or in due time for your children. You have to decide. Do you want to serve Father, or do you want to go on living life for yourself? I hope that helps. You have got to be doing something to reach others for Father. You cannot just look after yourself and pray and worship and observe the Sabbath. That's just obedience. That's not going to get you anywhere, my friend. You've got to do something actively to serve Father and reach others. Your credits when you die will be based on what you've done to reach others with Father's truths. If you reach nobody, you are going to be in the outer reaches of heaven, my friend. What I've just said there is really critical. And I suspect that it applies to many people on my mailing list, on this broadcast. In fact, pretty much all the believers on the planet. In the Bible, Mark 4:13 to 29, Yahushua speaking. Then he said to them, do you not understand this parable? How will you understand and grasp the meaning of all the parables? The sower sows the word of Yah, the good news regarding the way of salvation. These in the first group are the ones along the road where the word is sown, but when they hear, Satan immediately comes and takes away the word which has been sown in them. In a similar way, these in the second group of the word hear the word, immediately receive it with joy, but accept it only superficially. And they have no real root in themselves, so they endure only for a little while. Then when trouble or persecution comes, because of the word, the truth, immediately they are offended and displeased at being associated with me, and they stumble and fall away. Folks, it's so important to understand that in this whole parable of the sower, Yahushua was speaking to each and every believer. This is not some fringe stuff, some esoteric teaching that applies to the people in that age. It applies to you and me in this age today. What are you doing? What have you done? What do you intend to do in the next few days, weeks, months, years? There's a war going on, folks. And you can either stand on the sidelines and kind of watch it go by. And as I've said on several broadcasts before this, Yah has said that if the downward, if the shrinkage of believers continues at the present rate, in 100 years from now, there won't be any believers left, because most of the believers today are mature and elderly, and they're dying off by the day. There are a few younger ones who are coming in, but not many. And the question is, what are you doing about it? Are you taking what you learned from me and sharing it with people? Send them links to this broadcast. Send them links to my website. If you're not on my email list, email me and say, James, please add me to your mailing list. I don't do a lot, but I do a fair amount relative to what most people are doing. So I do these broadcasts every Friday, which I have to pay for. By the way, I haven't been able to pay for them for the last 6 months, so if you can manage to send me some money, that would be appreciated. Things are tight. I send out the email lists. I have to pay to do that. I post on LinkedIn and Facebook. I have to pay for the internet connection to do that. I post on my website. I have to pay to host the website, and I'm behind there as well. So again, if you've got some money that you're willing to invest in the kingdom, I would be greatly appreciative. So continuing, verse 18, and others are the ones on whom seed was sown among the thorns. These are the ones who have heard the word, but the worries and cares of the world, the distractions of this age with its worldly pleasures, and the deceitfulness and the false security of glamour, of wealth, of fame, and the passionate desire for all the other things creep in and choke out the word, and it becomes unfruitful. And those in the last group are the ones on whom seed was sown on the good soil, and they hear the word of Yah, the good news, regarding the way of salvation, and they accept it and bear fruit, 30, 60, and 100 times as much as was shown. He said to them, a lamp is not brought in to be put under a basket or under a bed, is it? Is it not brought in to be put on the lampstand? For nothing is hidden except to be revealed, nor has anything been kept secret that it would come to light. That is, that things are hidden only temporarily until the appropriate time comes for them to be known. If anyone has ears to hear, let him hear and heed my words. Then he said to them, pay attention to what you hear. By your own standard of measurement, that is, to the extent that you study spiritual truth and apply godly wisdom, it will be measured to you, and you will be given even greater ability to respond, and more will be given to you besides. For whoever has a teachable heart, to him more understanding will be given, and whoever does not have a yearning for truth, even what he has will be taken from him. Folks, think about what I'm saying to you here. Remember, we're looking at Mark chapter 4, verses 13 to 29, and I've just read up to 25. I can't stress this enough. If you are not actively doing things in service of Yah, at the very least, forward links to these broadcasts, point people to my websites, set up a little email list and take the articles that you like that I send to you and forward them to your mailing list. Talk to people about it. Do something to increase the number of believers and the strength of the existing believers. So following are a few other Bible verses that have a bearing on this topic. Hebrews 12, verse 1. Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, who by faith have testified to the truth of Yah's absolute faithfulness, stripping off every unnecessary weight and the sin which so easily and clearly entangles us, let us run with endurance and active persistence the race that is set before us. From the Amplified. Insofar as there is a race to qualify for reward in heaven, it is necessary to show up and compete. 1 Corinthians 9:24 to 27. Do you not know that in a race all the runners run their very best to win, but only one receives the prize? Run your race in such a way that you may seize the prize and make it yours. Now, every athlete who goes into training and competes in the games is disciplined and exercises self-control in all things. They do it to win a crown that withers, but we do it to receive an imperishable crown that cannot wither. Therefore, I do not run without a definite goal. I do not flail around like one beating the air, just shadow boxing. But like a boxer, I strictly discipline my body and make it my slave, so that after I have preached the gospel to others, I myself will not somehow be disqualified as unfit for service. From the Amplified again. So we see Paul, a powerful emissary and spokesman, concerned that despite all that he'd achieved, that he might be disqualified. How much more should we make an effort to overcome to the end and be found at the very least to be good and faithful servants? I'm really hoping you have got what I'm saying. I'm just nearly out of time, so I'm just going to wrap up. There's more to this article than I've had the opportunity to share. I've run out of time. It's on the website about your Heavenly account. Just click on the little 3 dots in the top right of your browser, search in page, find in page, depending on which browser you're using. Just type in account. You'll find it. Read the whole article. There's also an extract from the Final Quest about Angelo, a hearing-impaired beggar sitting on a high throne. And it's important to understand that we are judged according to the gifts that we were given. We're judged according to what we did with our calling. This is not a game of tiddlywinks, folks. This is a serious, hard contest, a war. And how you contribute or don't contribute to fighting that war is going to determine where you spend eternity. So I'd like to wrap up by asking you, what is the state of your relationship with the Almighty Creator? I'd like to ask you to critically examine where you are relative to the Almighty Creator. Do you talk to Him constantly throughout the day and allow Him to lead you in every possible way? Do you worship Him at every opportunity? Have you clearly and unambiguously heard Him call you friend? If not, you're failing in your life purpose and you'll be bitterly disappointed when you die. If you've now come to belief, please pray along the following lines. Father Yah, I come to you in the name of Yahushua. I now believe that you exist. I confess my sin of unbelief and repent of my unbelief, and I ask you to forgive my sin. I now commit my life to you, and I ask you to take me by the hand and lead me into deep relationship with you. I ask you to fill me with your Spirit and to change me and help me to become the person you want me to become. I ask you to help me find people who can help me find books, websites, articles, and other resources that will help me. I ask you to show me what I can do to actively serve you and lead others to deep personal relationship with you. I thank you for saving me. There's a period of 8 days from sincerely coming to belief for the first time, during which there is extreme grace to help you. See the article Critical Actions on First Belief for actions you should take immediately. Drop me an email on james@endtimeissueministries.org so I can help you, pray with you, counsel you, etc. In closing, thank you for listening. Please send me your questions to james@endtimeissueministries.org. Please email me to join the mailing list at james@endtimeissueministries.org. If you decide to draw close to the Almighty, please let me know, and I can connect with you by Zoom, Teams, email, LinkedIn, Facebook, WhatsApp, or telephone so that I can help you with your journey. I hope to connect with you again next week when I will continue to explore how to become a friend of the Creator. Work with me to make a way for Yahushua to return in victory at the end of the millennium and make his enemies his footstool. That's it, folks. For those of you who've been walking this road with me for a while, I'm expecting you to drop off now, so I'm going to say good night. For those of you who are new to this channel, there have only been 2 or 3 broadcasts, please stay on. I want to share a few things with you. In closing, who am I? James Robertson. I have a doctorate in engineering and I'm a retired military commander. I now work as a management consultant. I have over 32 years' experience of actively seeking to draw close to the Almighty, following a dramatic encounter with him on the 12th of March 1993, when he spoke to me audibly in a locked room, and I knew for certain that he was real. In learning about Father, I applied my deep-seated aversion to failure born out of an accident in early childhood, coupled to my engineering and military training of rigor and preventing failure, to my seeking of knowledge about Father. This journey led to numerous spiritual and supernatural experiences, prayers answered, clear communication with the Creator that forms the basis for what I teach in these programs. See the video Why Seek Relationship for an overview of what I believe. Please visit my website at www.endtimeissueministries.org. The ETI version of the Bible with correction of translation errors, see the ETI Bible version page. For recordings of nearly all of the teachings broadcast so far, go to www.relationshipwithcreatorradio.com or search on Google for Relationship with Creator Radio. Transcripts are on the transcripts of broadcast page. Books with teachings from 1998 till May 2019 are on the books for printing page. I publish regular email articles. Email me on james@endtimeissueministries.org to be added to the list or to seek counsel or prayer or give me feedback. Visit the website and use the article keyword cloud table of contents article search in Google search to locate the information you're looking for. So that's it, folks. I just want to make a point before I close. If you have not got it yet, it doesn't matter who you are, what you are. Father Yah wants a deep personal relationship with you. The only reason this entire universe, solar system, planet, plants, animals, human beings exist is because Father wanted intelligent beings that could rationalize, that could reason, that could discuss, that could make decisions, to be his friends. And he, in this age, does not concern himself whether you're rich or poor, tall or short, thin or fat, blue eyes and blonde hair, brown eyes and black hair, or anything in between. Christian, Jewish, Muslim, Buddhist, whatever. African, Asian, Indian, European, Caucasian, American, whatever. Satanist. Father wants you to become his friend. So if you haven't got that yet, I really suggest you go for it. Email me. I'll be delighted to hear from you. So I'm going to say good night. I'm out of time. Thanks so much.
Father, I come to you, lifting up my hands. By your grace I stand, just because you love me. I know your favor.
Do you seek truth or error when you meet people? I've been taught to seek truth, not error, and I also speak about your account in heaven. Please listen to my broadcast on w4cy.com internet radio or talk4tv.com internet TV. My name is Dr. James Robertson, and I've been walking closely with the Almighty Creator since 1993. Please visit my website at www.endtimeissueministries.org for a lot of information about the matters of the Almighty. For back issues of broadcasts, visit www.relationshipwithcreatorradio.com or email me on james@endtimeissueministries.org to find out more. Thank you so much. Have a great day.